The fallout from the live confrontation between Greg Gutfeld and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was immediate and ferocious. Within minutes of airing, social media ignited with clips of the tense exchange. The moment AOC snapped, calling out Gutfeld for using working-class struggles as the butt of a joke, spread like wildfire across Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Commentators, influencers, political pundits, and even late-night hosts chimed in. The hashtag Gutfeld vs AOC trended globally, accompanied by thousands of polarized takes. Some hailed Gutfeld as a hero for putting her in her place. Others praised AOC's boldness in calling out performative cruelty disguised as comedy. Gutfeld opened the next night's show with a smirk and no sign of remorse. "Well, folks, if I had a nickel for every time I made a politician mad, I could fund AOC's climate plan," he joked. The audience laughed, but it was clear even he understood the moment had struck a deeper chord than expected. He doubled down, playing the edited circus music clip again, this time with a new graphic that read, "The clown deal." "Look, I get it," he said, reclining in his chair. "It's tough when someone challenges your worldview with facts and sarcasm. But here's a newsflash: if your policy ideas can't survive a few jokes, maybe they weren't that strong to begin with." But it wasn't just about jokes anymore. The confrontation triggered a much larger conversation in political media circles. Progressive commentators accused Gutfeld of bullying and dehumanizing rhetoric. "It's not comedy when it targets the vulnerable," one CNN analyst said during a panel discussion. "This isn't edgy, it's just cruel." On MSNBC, clips of AOC's response were played with emotional music in the background, framing her as a fighter for the working class. Online, prominent Democrats reposted her quote, "If the only way you can debate me is by turning my words into a punchline, maybe it's because you can't actually challenge them," with messages of solidarity. AOC didn't waste time either. Just days later, she took to the House floor to call for ethical responsibility in political media, referencing her on-air experience without naming Gutfeld directly. She introduced a new initiative aimed at holding media platforms accountable for spreading disinformation and amplifying mockery in place of meaningful dialogue. The move was applauded by her base, though critics saw it as a veiled attempt at censorship. What she really wants, Gutfeld said on his show later that week, is a media-safe space where no one can criticize her ideas unless it's done in sonnets and trigger warnings. He accused AOC of weaponizing outrage and warned viewers of a growing trend. "These folks want to take your jokes, your memes, your freedom to laugh, and regulate it like they regulate plastic straws." Meanwhile, AOC's team rolled out an online campaign focused on elevating political discourse. Her social channels featured testimonials from nurses, teachers, and laborers who praised her for standing up to arrogant elites who've never struggled a day in their life. The narrative took hold with her supporters, many of whom had long felt mocked or misrepresented by mainstream media. But behind the political drama, there were real consequences. Sponsors of Gutfeld's show started receiving pressure. Activist groups began calling for boycotts, accusing the show of promoting toxic comedy that targets the powerless. One major advertiser quietly pulled a week's worth of ads. In response, conservative pundits rallied around Gutfeld, framing the controversy as a free speech issue. "If comedians can't roast elected officials anymore," one Fox contributor warned, "then we've lost more than humor, we've lost the First Amendment." Still, public interest only grew. News networks milked the feud for days. Memes flooded Instagram. One depicted Gutfeld in clown makeup with the caption, "Satire King or Punchline Peasant." Another had AOC standing in front of a burning TV studio with the words, "She didn't come to play." Behind the scenes, both camps weighed the long-term impact. Gutfeld's ratings soared temporarily, but so did criticism. AOC's popularity with younger voters spiked, especially among those disillusioned with traditional politics. Despite, or because of, the tension, both figures had solidified their brands even more. In the end, it was more than a media moment. It was a collision of two Americas, one that laughed with Gutfeld, and one that cheered with AOC. One that wanted comedy without a conscience, and one that demanded conscience even from comedians. The confrontation revealed not just a clash of personalities, but a deeper cultural rift, between satire and sincerity, entertainment and empathy. As the dust settled, neither side backed down. And for millions watching, it was clear, this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning.